Welcome inside another edition of the pregame presented by Twitch. Vince Sapienza coming to you from Raiders HQ as per usual. And as per usual, I'm joined alongside the former NFL vet, former Raiders running back, and a constant contributor now on Good Morning Football. Here's Rashad Jennings. Rashad, good morning. How are you?
Morning, rise and shine. I've been up since 3 o'clock. So I'm wide awake.
Well, welcome back once again inside the pregame. And before we look ahead to the Raiders' next matchup against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday at Allegiant Stadium, we got to see you in the flesh Monday night against them boys. Now, I understand you were in the midst of the meet and greets, a lot of handshaking, meeting with members of Raider Nation. What was it like being back at Allegiant Stadium and seeing Raider Nation up close?
Yeah, it felt good to be back. The greatest stadium, greatest fans, love being there, part of the organization for life. And it was neat. It was neat to get there to be live. One thing that popped up is the little bracelets.
Yeah.
The little bracelet everybody wears at the light show.
Right.
Man, that's pretty dope. Actually, first time I've ever seen that. But it was a game that it started off slow, took off fast. And I got a chance to see the Raiders offense and defense live close in person, and I think I saw some things.
Yeah, so I guess let's just start there. What was the biggest takeaway as we jump forward and look forward from that game?
You hear about Max Crosby and how much of a wrecker he is on the defensive side of the ball, and you take it for granted. But when you see him live, close and in person, this dude is beyond special. And he's a one-man wrecking crew over there. And I think he needs some help. That's what I saw. And we get that type of energy and we get that type of talent all over the place. That's a special team. But and then I got a chance to see a little bit of the offensive line and how they grew together. Gino is under distress a lot. And like I said before, we all running backs. All running backs run the same besides Barry Sanders, no red of run. I think one of the stats that stood out to me is something around the fact that Genty ended up with less than 10 yards. I think it was 7 or 8 yards total. And he had one run that was 11 yards. So when you get that kind of negative play every single day in and out, it's just tough to win, man.
Yeah, let's not make no bones about it. It was not a good performance from the Raiders offensive line. 34 pressures, 4 sacks on 42 dropbacks for Gino. Obviously, the game plan was changed and it was schemed up in a way to try and help them as much as possible, which is why we saw a lot of the play action. I know a lot of people are sitting there saying, how can you run play action over and over and over when you're not running the ball? Well, at minimum, and you can speak to this more than most, is at minimum it freezes the D-line, even if it's for a moment. It gives you that extra second, gives Gino that time, that little bit of extra time that he was needed, that clearly it didn't pan out the way they would have hoped, but he was able to get a little more time than maybe he would have in just straight dropbacks.
Yeah, exactly. And when you got the play action, obviously it's built off running the football. But it does bring those and magnet those linebackers into the gaps just a little bit because they don't want to get beat, especially when you got somebody like Ashton Genty running through the line and he's hard to find. He's a bulldozer. So it bring those linebackers up, allow you to sneak in behind them in the secondary. And it's very effective, especially when you got a mobile quarterback like Geno Smith. So I expect to see some more of it along the way. I expect to see even more play action out of shotgun. That way, Gino is already 5 yards away from the lineman to kind of pick apart the defense.
Yeah, and obviously it affects Gino, but it obviously affects the running backs in the running game itself. That may seem obvious, but I don't know if worry is the right word. It may be concern. When you have a rookie running back, as special as Ashton Genty is, at some point when your average contact is 1 point something yards every time you touch the ball, you're already bracing for a hit. You're already trying to do more than you probably should be. Is there concern that he is a rookie running back and this is his first dose in the NFL? Like, do you see this affecting him long-term, or could this somehow help him?
Everything has a causation and effect to it, and I think this could be a situation that does affect him. Now, will it be for the long term? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a pro. I think he would be a very effective running back throughout the league during his time in the NFL. But I would like to see a little bit of Raheem Mostert from time to time too. And the reason why is because, folks, when you have a star-powered running back, any player, but once you have when you have a up and coming star in that spot in that position, and they're thrown into the wolves, sometimes you can beat up yourself a little bit. You can get down in the dumps, and you can lose your way. When you have a veteran like Raheem Mostert, who's a little bit savvier, he knows how to hit the holes just like Genty. Mm-hmm. He catch the ball just like Genty. He got breakaway speed the same. Like they can play ball similar. It's good sometimes to see a veteran run and get skinny and slither through and show the expectations, and allow him to teach live and not just always in the film room, because Raheem Mostert is a veteran. It's hard to play over 6 years in the NFL as a running back. Trust me, I did it for 8. You have to know something. And they still use my cut-up tapes in the NFL and teaching. So I think Raheem Mostert getting a couple reps, kind of holding the hand and showing them the way a little bit, even when the line's not blocking well, is showing them how to run through those. And I would personally like to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah, Chip Kelly this week talked about how obviously whoever's out on the field dictates the play calling and the game planning and what you want to do. You can't run a zone run play if you don't have the athletes out there to execute it properly. So I guess my question to you as a running back, how different was it for you when you realized, hey, my offensive line is not holding up the way it is? How much did that change the way you approached the game, played the game, compared to when you knew, hey, our offensive line is cooking right now? Like, how different was that, and how big of a challenge is that in front of whether it's Ashton or Raheem?
Yeah, it's a challenge when you're switching in and out systems, players, personnel, calls, depending on who's in the game. It can be very effective because you're maximizing the skill set of every player. And sometimes for a defense, you can kind of, peel your ears back and guess and know what the system is that's coming at you. It's one of the things like the 49ers. I don't know if anybody watches run game long enough. You look at Christian McCaffrey when he's in the game, or when he's out of the game, and they have Brian Robinson come right in. They don't change their play calls. They don't change nothing. It's plug and play, baby. This is how we do it, and this is how we're going to win. Now, obviously, there's some wrinkles and new plays that come in each week. When I was backing up Maurice Jones-Drew, there would always be one new wrinkle play or one new pass play designed for the running back to get his hands on the ball. And they would take me out. If I was in the game, they'd take me out. I was like, it's a new play. We want Maurice to run it because that's Maurice Jones-Drew at that time. And so, they didn't really change the system. They told me to learn the system. But I've been on teams with the New York Giants, and they would call plays based upon if Shane Vereen was in, if I was in, who, depends. And so there's pros and cons to it all. And obviously Kelly is a mastermind. He knows what he's doing. So I like to see some of the play scheme towards Raheem as well.
Yeah, let's get a little more carries though for that number 2 back there in silver and black. Let's see that on Sunday. And as we look ahead to Sunday, a short work week for the Raiders. They play Monday night back at Allegiant Stadium, Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. And it almost feels wrong that we've gone this far in the pregame for Week 12 and haven't talked about number 12 on the opposite side of the field. Shedeur Sanders made his NFL debut in Week 11, will make his first start in Vegas, and for the stars, the planets to align in the way that it did, for him to be here in Vegas and all the breadcrumbs, the Tom Brady connection, everything that goes into it. How anxious, anticipatory are you for seeing this game, specifically his performance, his star? There it is. You got the move already.
You're talking about anticipation. It has to be, folks. If anybody watches football, you know what I mean? Like, let's just give it a break, right? Whether you hate the kid, love the kid, have an opinion. I mean, when we talk about Shedeur Sanders, he is consumed like politics. I mean, it's extremist. all over the place. You don't very rarely do you see the common sense party between the two. It's one or the other, right? And they all about he's the worst player ever. His father is the only reason. And then you have on the other side, he's the greatest. Is it because he's black? Is it because of his style? Is it because of that? It's chaotic. But here it is, folks, and this is one of the reasons why I love football, because you got to play the game. Right? You have to play this game. And here's his chance. He will get an opportunity. He will prepare. He prepared all week for it. Ain't no excuses of, oh, he's not prepared. I've never heard that. That's the weirdest excuse in the world. He get a chance to run the reps. He got his team ready. It ain't no woulda, coulda, shoulda. He is the person that everybody is looking at. Now, what kind of reason will he be? And that's what I kind of talked about earlier. He's going to be the reason. I like him as the reason guy. Why? Because there's a reason why he was drafted 5th round. A lot of people and spectators say he probably shouldn't even been drafted. Now, there's the other side that says there's a reason why he wasn't drafted 1st round. It's like, hold on. Are we talking about why he wasn't drafted or why he was drafted where he was at? Either way, I don't know. Who should be the starter? I don't know. Who is the best quarterback coming out of the class? We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. And for him, I know he's licking his chops because the Raiders defense have been giving up points. And I know the defense, our Raiders defense is licking their chops because they say, yo, fresh blood in the water. So if you are looking for a good football game this Sunday to watch, it has to be the Browns playing against the Raiders.
I mean, you sold it for me. I mean, I was already going to be there, but I feel like you sold it pretty well. So he makes his NFL debut a week ago. 4 of 16, 13.5 quarterback rating, interception, got sacked a few times. You know, the Baltimore Ravens did what you did right there. Did it. They did it in his face. They did it in his face. So I guess how much do you take from that performance, knowing he hasn't gotten a single first-team starting rep this entire season, even in training camp? This week he's getting all the first-team reps, and they're going to be game planning the game and the offense around what he does and what he does well. How much do you take from that game in terms of what you expect this Sunday?
Not too much besides his scramble ability. I mean, he threw a couple balls that were horrible. He threw a couple balls that was on the money, and he actually threw a ball in the end zone to give his wide receiver an opportunity to cash in, to tie up the game at the end. All I know is we're going to see some unorthodox play. I know he's going to scramble and extend plays, and I think he'll hold on to the ball a little bit longer than he needs to, but I think that's part of what makes him a great athlete at the same time. So he's a rookie. You know, rookies don't come in, and I actually played the game, so I'm not one of these guys that kind of thinks, oh, he's going to come in and throw for 500 yards, or he's going to come in and throw for negative 50. I'm somewhere in the middle of, I think he has to figure it out and groove and perform, but 5th round draft pick, and being a fifth string quarterback starting off and working his way to finally getting a chance to play. The highest paid Nike guys, a rookie, selling tickets. Listen, folks, the Browns tickets cost $6 right now. All right, I take the whole church, the hood, and everybody to go see that game. But they don't have anything. The Boo Boo Browns are bad. And so them throwing him in the fire, see what he does. Now, obviously, he's going to come out to the West Coast. That's not easy to do. And I think the Raiders get licking their chops. And don't forget, folks, you got 2 of the best defensive ends going head-to-head, and Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. And I'm telling you, it don't matter who's on the field. If you're a defensive guy, you're looking for a lot of sacks.
All right, well, let's stay there with Max and Shedeur for a second before we get to Myles Garrett. Patrick Graham talked about this week, young quarterbacks in this league have a tendency when they get in trouble to go backwards, because in college they were able to outrun a lot of their problems most of the time because they were the superior athlete. That's typically not the case when you get to the National Football League. So for Patrick Graham, he's sitting there saying, that might be an opportunity for this pass rush to get home. And you talked about Max. He needs some help. Could this be the game? And again, it may be too little too late, but the Malcolm Kuntzes of the world, the Tyree Wilsons of the world, finally get home and start not just, hey, having good plays, but start stacking the stat sheet a little bit. Like, get in there, remind people of why they're here, why they need to be here moving forward.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of blitzes dialed up, man. I really do this week because, man to man, and I think we have the umbrella to do that on the defensive side with the Raiders. I think we could play scrap up man to man, especially against the personnel that they have across the ball, and let the boys go get them. Clog up, make it a very difficult booth play, keep them in the box, play smash mouth football, play man to man in the back, and let's go at it like we kids in the backyard. It ain't always got to be the best scheme. It's about me being better than you, and I think this is a good matchup for those type of games. Now, somebody's going to stand out. Somebody on the defensive side of the ball with the Raiders are going to stand out. I don't know. I mean, I think we might even see Adams blitzing a little bit more off the edge. But, when you think about Malcolm, Adam, Crosby, all those guys up front, some guys going to end up with like 2 or 3 sacks contributing to the game. That's going to make a big difference. You got look, they're very similar, man. You got 2 rookie running backs on both sides. You got 2 really good defensive ends on both sides. You got some struggling offense with both systems. With both players that can play ball. It's a lot of very similars. And unfortunately, the stat sheet that's similar that we shouldn't be in, if we could rewind the tape, I wish we could, is in the winning column. Both teams are 2-8. Somebody got to come out here with this victory. And I think that the upper hand is definitely for the Raiders. I think we got the stronger defense. I think we got the stronger special team play, better offense. The Browns are a little bit more stout fully at defense, but I think we're competitive head to head, and we can get this dub.
So let's jump to the other side now. You mentioned Myles Garrett. 15 sacks. So far this season. 4-sack game, 5-sack game. He has been an absolute tear, and he's on a tear right now that is of historic proportions. He's on track to set the new sack record in a single season. How would you describe his play thus far?
Dude, he's like Wemby in the NBA.
Alien.
It's like, what do we do with this guy? I don't know what to do. He's too big, too fast, too strong. Every technique you try to give me, that crap ain't working against this guy. This dude's a monster. He's literally a man-child. He's the Under Armour mannequin that you see inside of the stores where you're like, yo, if this thing could take off, those statues you see?
Yeah.
And it's like, if this was a real person, I'd freak out right now. He's that. So you throw everything out of the window trying to figure out how to block this guy, but you got a chip. You have to put 2 or 3 people on him. Then it opens up everything else. It's just a nightmare. So he's 7 or 8 sacks away from breaking the record. He has 7 more games to do it. I think the record's tied with 22.5 anyway. So he's like, I'm tired of this tie thing. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to own it and move on with my life. So hopefully he doesn't get anything going this week, but I do think he's going to break the record, and he's one of the best defensive ends that the NFL seen.
Yeah, the Raiders' offensive line have a tall task in front of them, especially in pass pro. And you're talking about those mannequins. You can see those mannequins at the Raiders' image located at inside Allegiant Stadium when you get to the game on Sunday. Nice little plug there for the Raider image at the stadium. But with a defensive line that is going to obviously get after this offensive line, and it like we said, it's going to be a tall task, right? Means Geno's going to have to get the ball out, make those quick reads. Let's talk about the receivers. It's a young receiver room, as we have talked about, especially since Jacoby's been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, on Monday night, just 9 snaps for Jack Besh, 0 targets for Dante Thornton Jr. You want them, I would imagine, at this point of the season, the way the season has gone, just let them have their run, right? Like, get them the ball. Let's see what you have in them at this point. But the onus is also on them to get open, make their reads, get their concepts correct. How tough of a balance is that at this point of the season for this offense and for a Pete Carroll-led team that wants to win, but also figuring out what they have in these young guys?
Yeah, it's tough, man. And because of that lets me know that Geno Smith is out there doing everything he can to get these dubs. Obviously, he's that kind of guy anyway, but he's looking for his guys. He's looking for the players. He's trying to make plays. He doesn't get as much time as he needs and could. But, you know, when you have a system and you have guys like Tucker and obviously Tyler Lockett is somebody he's very familiar and comfortable with. He goes to him a lot now on third downs, you can see. But Dante Thornton coming in and Besh coming in, you know, getting a couple play action plays. I want to see them run a route, the stem, the tree, and see what they got, you know, a couple 50-50 balls and tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a 50-50 ball, right? Now, you got two options. Catch it or make sure the defense does it. You know, at the end of the day, let's live for the next down. And I think I've been on teams a lot of times where I've heard Eli Manning tell somebody, say, hey, look, I'm going to throw you a 50-50 ball. Don't let them catch it. That's the thing I don't want, right? It's like, yo, you're in the NFL, they're in the NFL. Show why you're here too. And so I would love to see a little bit more of the 50-50 balls and some good spots when there's one-on-one opportunities and let these guys go out here and make plays. But, yeah, we got to see what we got because we're building for the future. Obviously, we got pieces to the puzzle. There's a couple guys, obviously, in Genty. It's a couple of guys, obviously. Defensive side, Max Crosby, but just sticking with the offensive side of the ball. We know Tucker will be there next year. We know Genty will be there next year. We know Browers and Myers will be there next year, and a few pieces to the offensive line. But now we got to figure out, all right, where do we go? Do we do free agency? How we bringing more players in the draft? And who's going to develop? Because one of these receivers, I think, will or two could develop and be something really special.
All right, so you just kind of mentioned it there. And while there's going to be plenty of time to look ahead to the draft and look ahead to free agency, what the Raiders are going to do, I want your insight to the right now. This is a 2-8 football team. They're in the midst of their second 4-game losing streak. Pete Carroll was asked this week, how do you keep hope alive, right? Like, how do you keep the juices up, the energy, the vibes high at this point in the season where it's clearly gone off the rails, not the way they've wanted to go. And Pete Carroll's even admitted he did not expect to be in this position, and he has not been in this position many times in his coaching career. So as a player in that locker room, getting set for Sunday, 1:05 kickoff against the Cleveland Browns, a battle of the 2-8 teams, what is the key to keeping vibes high, to keep this thing together? Because I asked the players after the game on Monday night, I go, how do you not let the frustration just seep out and pour over? And the simple answer I got is we got to stay together. But as a former player, help extrapolate what that means by staying together and moving forward to this Sunday.
You know, there's good cop, bad cop, right? But at the end of it, they're cops. That's how you got to work the system. I personally, this is my personal opinion, I do not believe in this whole idea of getting everybody about, hey, the team. That don't work, okay? Because if it was a real team, nobody gets cut. So this team talk, throw it out the window. Now, what is that for? Obviously, the head coach, right? Obviously, certain personnel. Yes, good cop, bad cop. You need that talk. But behind the scenes, too, you need the bad cop to let some of these players know you will get fired. Okay? That last name on the back of your jersey, that family that you going home to, yeah, you got to start thinking about them. Selfishly, 11 individuals focusing selfishly on their job creates a team. Thinking about the team sometimes is what creates chaos. Oh, they shoulda, you shoulda. No. Everybody ain't mature for the team talk. Some people are just mature enough for selfish talk. So you have to, now, what is that? The coaches in that organization have to have the psychology to understand who they're talking to and understand to treat everybody differently and find an edge to push them. And so not everybody, I'm talking about no team. I'm talking about you, your family, your kids, your wife, your children, and how to protect them. So that's how you get the best out of people. You got to understand that everybody's different.
I think we need to clip that, put that in the team meeting Saturday night before they go to bed and before they disperse and go back to their families ahead of the game on Sunday. Rashad, last one before we scoot on this one. What's going to be the difference Sunday at Allegiant Stadium between a Raiders victory and coming up short?
picks. Defense is going to have to stand up. There's going to be opportunities for those balls in the air, loosey-goosey. There's going to be a couple of times where Shedeur maybe thinks he's a little bit faster. Boom. You see what Max Crosby did to the superior Dak Prescott when he thought he was fast enough to get away. There's going to be these opportunities to get the ball. We're going to need a ball. We're going to need 1 or 2 turnovers, big plays, special teams, and we're going to have to slow down. We're going to have to slow down. I ain't saying stop. We're going to have to slow down to Myles Garrett coming off that edge. You got to run at him when you get a chance, cut him when you get a chance, chip him when you get a chance, make him feel very uncomfortable. And also, we need Brock Bowers to step up, and we need a couple deep balls. And I think Geno will put it on the spot. Thornton down the pipe. And we need to see some more. I still want to see more of Jack Best. I like this kid. I think it's something different about him. But he's a big body coming across the middle. So we're going to have to lean a lot more on defense and just running our system on offense.
That is real, that is raw, that is insightful and analytical from the one, the only, Rashad Jennings. This has been the pregame presented by Twitch. You can catch all our episodes up on Raiders.com, Raiders YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast. For Rashad Jennings, I'm Vince Sapienza. Thanks for watching the pregame presented by Twitch. Enjoy the game at Allegiant Stadium. Raiders, Browns, 1:05 kickoff. We'll be back next week on the pregame.